Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Trader Sea Time with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 22nd of July 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts. There are a few of those that we've looked at this morning just to see how things are getting got along. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute an investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Also, before we jump into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our videos that are coming out. So yep, feel free to do that. And also our JFD research page. So if you go on our jfdbank.com website and click JFD research, it will take you to our page, which we update on a daily basis here with different material and different analysis, of course, a more in-depth analysis. So please, or should I say, feel free to check us out. I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff. But for now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the DAX, the German index here. So, a while ago when I looked at this one, I was talking about this downside resistance line that has been running here from the 4th of July. The index then kind of had a bit of a wave here, managed to drive to the downside, managed to break below this area here, area of support near the 12,300 level. And the level that I was talking about, that the potential target for us was this 12,190 zone, so which we had a perfect test of. It did overshoot it a little bit, but kind of quickly got back above this 12,190. So now it's kind of trying to push higher, make its way higher, trying to climb back above the 12,300. The only thing is that still we will remain cautious somewhat because we are still below this downside resistance line. So if, for example, if it holds again, then we may see another leg of selling. So that's why for us, the in order to kind of aim for lower levels, this is the level that we're going to be keeping a close eye on now, the 12,190, because a drop below this in a way could also place the price below the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. And of course, this could lead towards further declines. Initially, we will be aiming for the psychological 12,000 level, but slightly below that, we do have the another good potential area of support here near the 11,987 zone. So just fractionally below the psychological 12,000 zone. So, but of course, that's when in regards to the downside. In terms of the upside here, if this downside line breaks and we see a nice good push higher, well, one of the levels that we're going to be keeping a close eye on here is, of course, this 12,484-85 zone. In a way, to be honest, I mean, what you could do here is also keep an eye on these on this recent high near the 12,465 zone. So just kind of 20 points lower, or in other words, to be honest, you could keep an eye just on this little territory here in overall, because there are a bunch of good potential resistance levels. It could be this 12,436, or even the 465 or 485. So that's why we're going to keep an eye on this territory in general, because just let's say if the 12,485 zone surrenders to the bulls. Now this is where it could become a little bit more exciting for more buyers to jump in and push this one higher. So that's why, guys, for now, this is going to be the level that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. But again, I'm not excluding the possibility of, let's say, this one breaking this downside line, pushing higher, but let's say finding good resistance somewhere around here, but slightly below this level, and then maybe reversing back to the downside. So that's why I'm going to keep this 12,485 as the kind of the last point here the last potential area of resistance. I mean, if it breaks, then yep, we could see this one climbing further up here, but we will initially only aim for the 12,655 zone, approximately around there, near the highs of July so far. So this was basically the highest point of July so far. I mean, we do have a few days still to run in July, so we might as well maybe see another test of this if we see a strong push through this 12,485 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. WTI Oil. Now, I talked about this one this morning, and basically I was talking about this downside resistance line, which could in a way hold, and you can see, and this level here as well, the 5706. But as you can see, this area here also coincided with the R2, today's R2 on the pivot points, and you can see that this worked out perfectly for the bears, and you can see for the sellers, and you can see that more of them are now jumping in and pushing this one lower. That said, for us, we are still going to be somewhat neutral and just going to continue observing this one, because for now, again, this kind of point just clears for us something here. Basically, this kind of puts more emphasis on this level here around the 57.06 area, and of course this also keeps this area, this potential support area, on our radars, because this is where it could become interesting for more bears if we see a drop below this. So below this area, below the 54.83, of course initially the 55 level, we'll keep an eye on that one, but if it continues to drop below the 54.83, then yep, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low here on the shorter time frame, and we could see this one sliding further down. But again, for now, until it's kind of stuck here, even though yes, we are seeing some selling activity right now, be very careful. Like I said, from the technical side, it's still currently sitting above its pivot, so it could be seen still as a positive sign. If it drops below this, then yep, it increases the chances of a further move towards the 55 zone, but the breaking point for us would be the 54.83, 85 zone, approximately around there, so basically not far from these lows, near the lows of 18th of July. So this is what we're going to do in terms of the downside. As I said before, with the upside, a break above the 57.06 could initially open the path to a slightly higher. Of course, the only thing is that just maybe for that better confirmation, ideally we would like to see a push above the 200 EMA here, shown as the black line, and then yep, we will aim for higher levels. But for now, we are going to remain neutral and just continue observing the price action. Jumping into a few pairs now very quickly. AUDJPY is quite an interesting one, because as you can see, this level right here near the 76.1415 zone, approximately around there, it continues to hold the pair down, and it initially did try to make its way higher. Of course, the day is not finished yet, so we may see this one pushing further up. Of course, going into the Asian session, of course, this is where the activity could increase. But what I'm leaning to is just keep an eye on the 76.15 level. This is a nice good break above this level could open the path initially towards this high, towards the highest point of June here near the 76.28 zone, and then of course if that fails to withhold, then yep, further acceleration to the upside is possible. We will aim for the 76.55 zone, which previously was marked here by the intraday swing low here of the 10th of May. So good, also good potential target. But again, we need a bunch of clearances here, a bunch of levels getting broken before we could aim for this higher level. So initially we will aim for higher levels if we see a push above the 76.15. The next obstacle is around the 76.28 zone, something like that, which is marked by the highest point of June, and if that fails, then yep, further move higher could be possible. We are leaning more to the upside because the pair continues to trade above this tentative upside line taken from the low of the 18th of June. So but if this line gets broken here, And if we see the rate falling below the 75.73 zone, of course, initially the last kind of option here for the bulls to step in would be maybe near these EMAs here, maybe around the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. But if, to be honest, if that even fails, then yep, further declines towards the 75.42 level could be possible, or even going further down towards this other key important area of support. And let me just quickly put this one here. This is more the recent one. This is near the 75.16 zone, so keep your eyes on this little territory. Also could be a good one, but again, before we could consider that such a move to the downside, we need to see a break of this upside support line and a drop below this level right here, initially the 75.73, and then of course these EMAs. So keep your eyes on that one. NZDCAD, now this one is having a nice push here to the upside. So after it broke this tentative downside line here, you can see that it continues to rise, it continues to move steeply, trading above, let me just quickly put this line here, trading above this steep upside support line. It's a bit of a tentative one, but nevertheless a support line. And for now we're gonna continue observing this, and we'll see how it's going to play around it, because I mean, for now it's really difficult to find where it could let's say reverse and kind of maybe go for a deeper correction here. But for now, I mean, the correction is slightly off the table. What we're going to do here is we're going to continue monitoring the upside. The only thing is that it may get stalled near this little high. Let me just quickly put this one on the chart. This little high here near the 0.8920 zone. So this is basically the highest point of June, and this is where, like I said, the rate could stall, maybe like hang around here for a little bit, maybe correct to the back to the downside, test this upside support line, and then we'll take it from there. If it wants to break this upside support line, then yep, we'll aim for lower. But for now, let's say at this point in time here, and where the pair is right now, if it pushes above the R2, today's R2, which is around the 0.8885, then yep, the next target for us is this 0.8920. If this decides to reverse and let's say breaks this upside support line earlier, for us, what we're going to do here is we're going to monitor this 0.8815 level, which previously acted as a good area of resistance here back on the 28th of June. Recently, it also kind of almost acted as a good area of support, just kind of fell shy of a few pips of touching that, and this was basically going to be our breaking point. If we see an earlier reversal here to the downside, an earlier break of this upside support line, this is where we could get a little bit more comfortable with lower levels. A drop below the 0.8815 could in a way slide, could force the pair to slide a little bit lower here, aiming initially towards the 0.8786, and then we'll take it from there, because we do have a 200 EMA here approaching as well this level. So keep your eyes on this potential idea. GBPCHF, now this is, I mean, overall, of course, looking at the weekly chart here, I mean, it's a total mess. But if we look at the 4-hour, I mean, it's also a mess, but now it's testing one of its key areas of support. Let me just quickly highlight that one for our future reference, and this is the one that I'm talking about. So this is basically near the 1.2235 level here. You can see that the pair is kind of balancing just slightly above that right now. It did have a break below today, but it's struggling to kind of push further down. Of course, we still have a good kind of the whole US trading session to go through. Maybe something could trigger it, but unless it's going to be waiting for the election results, which are coming out tomorrow. So there might be some increased activity tomorrow, but again, maybe the market is already pricing in the fact that Boris Johnson is going to be the next prime minister. So maybe the decline has already come, and we could see a nice reversal back to the upside. But again, before we could consider higher levels, ideally we would like from technically speaking, we would like to see a nice good push above the 1.2343 zone here, and only then aim for higher levels. For now, we're going to be very careful. Of course, right now the pair, it's closer to this level, this potential breaking point near the 1.2235, but then again, you can see that it's currently struggling to push further down. Continue observing this one. If it drops below this, then yep, we will aim for lower levels around the 1.22 zone. Of course, that could be the first initial target, and then we'll take it from there, see how it's how it's going to perform, or how it could perform later on. So for now, keep your eyes on these two levels. Let's see how this is going to play out. EURGBP. Now, I talked about this one this morning, and basically what I was saying, that it was at the time when I was talking about this, when it was trading around here somewhere near the 0.8985, something like that level, and now you can see that it's kind of it managed to make its way higher, test the psychological 0.90 level, the level that I've mentioned that if we would get a break above this, then yep, we would consider another push higher here. We would aim for the highs of Thursday near the 0.9037. But if, as you can see right now, this 0.90 level, the psychological 0.90, continues to hold, so in a way, for now, we're gonna stay neutral here, because for us the breakout point to the downside is this 0.8955. So that's why, guys, for now we're gonna remain neutral and just continue observing this activity here and keep an eye on these potential breakout points. And the last pair for this session would be the USDJPY. Very quick update on this one. You can see that the level here, the 108 zone, kind of held the rate nicely. We did have a few overshoots, but it kind of never allowed even a 4-hour candle to close above this. So you can see that now it's kind of trying to make its way a little bit lower here. The only thing is that for now, probably this is a more of a neutral position here, neutral territory. Also, what you could keep an eye on here is this potential downside line. It's a bit of a tentative one, because we do have some overshoots here, but just something to kind of have something like a gauge here, and to see how it's getting along. So as you can see, it's still kind of trading below this downside line. The only thing is that for us, let's say, in order to kind of aim for lower areas in the near term, a drop below the 107.18 level, this is what we would be looking for. But from the shorter time frame, let's say shorter term perspective, you could in a way keep your eyes on the area around here somewhere, around the maybe 107.55. maybe a drop below this could in a way open the path towards this area right here, the 107.18 that I talked about, and then of course we'll take it from there. So like I said, in order not to, let's say, wait for such a big move here to the downside, in a way, like I said, you could start looking at lower levels here below the 107.55, but then again, be very careful here, because even though it might break lower here and travel, maybe it could get held here somewhere around the lower bound of the Bollinger Band, and then reverse and push back to the upside. So that's why I'm keeping this area here. The 107.18 level is the more important one in order to kind of examine further declines. But if this, let's say, reverses and breaks the downside line and pushes above the 108 zone, and let's say it closes a daily candle above this, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting, because we could target the 200 EMA initially, but if it continues to push higher, accelerates above the 108.37, the next potential good area of resistance could be seen around the 108.62 zone, approximately around there, which is kind of near the highs of the 5th of July and near the highs of the 11th of July as well. So so keep your eyes on this one, but again, like I said, we will wait for that confirmation break first before kind of getting excited here with USDJPY. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Apologies for the kind of falling voice. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, is my Trader's Espresso, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.